Hey everybody, we'll get going here soon. We'll have Patron and Damson in here tonight, and it should be a great show. Happy Monday evening. Hope everybody's having a good day. We had some good spaces earlier today. We can definitely talk about those too, and look forward to talking to all of you tonight. It's our evening ritual, right? Hope everybody had a great weekend too. We'll have a good night tonight. I had a great weekend. Got to spend some time with the family, and we'll be ready to go. Should have Patron and my man Damson in here soon too. All right, Dam is here. Looks like we got TJ in here. Good to see TJ in here again. Great to have him back to listen. And Patron should be here any minute. Dam, just hit that co-host invite. You should be good, man. All right, we should be ready momentarily. All right, Dam is up here. Patron should be here any minute. I know Patron wants to get back in here. Let me just start out with this. Welcome to the program. Great to have you on After Dark again tonight. Great day today. Hopefully, all of you had a great Monday, made the most of your day. Got to go on the Spanish space earlier today. Love those guys. Great energy and enthusiasm. It's great talking to those guys. Nandy does an excellent job. Garcia is in there as well. We had Miguel was in there. Hughes was in there. It was really good just to talk to those guys. I also got to get some time in with Don and Lee. Got to listen for a little while. Tremendous technical knowledge in that space. They're doing great work. And then I believe Ryan, the Hound, joined one of the spaces earlier today too. So we can talk about that as well. We're going to talk what we see coming in the month. We'll touch on a lot of topics tonight. I'm eager to listen to all of you guys and hear your thoughts and opinions. So I look forward to everything tonight. Dan, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here. Happy to see TJ in the space. He's one of the Safemoon After Dark OGs, so I love seeing him here tonight. You want me to go ahead and get into the disclaimer, or
Yeah,
do
go
you have?
ahead. Patron will probably join us later. I mean, he's been under the weather, so I'm not exactly sure if he'll be back tonight. But if he's not, we'll roll forward. If he is, we'll have him join us soon. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, great. Yeah, this is to protect the audience, the show, as well as our platforms. It's ironic that TJ's here tonight. It's much of this is his work. He did a great job with it, and there really wasn't much to change. So I'm going to go ahead and continue with it. Safe Moon After Dark presents informative content, news, and entertainment surrounding Safe Moon, projects in the Safe Moon ecosystem, developing technology, and the cryptocurrency community. We want you to come strong to the mic. However, when you come to the mic, we want you to remain respectful to not only the host and co hosts, but to other speakers and guests as well. If you aren't following any of us, or if we aren't following you, please make sure that your tweets aren't protected before you come up. If you don't have anything in your profile related to crypto, SafeMoon, or the SafeMoon ecosystem, we're probably not going to let you up. When you share, please try to keep everything clear and concise. Try not to take up too much time, as we want to get through all the content and hear from anyone in the audience. If you have any questions, please contact us via our DMs, and we will attempt to get your questions answered as soon as possible. A reminder that we are being recorded tonight and streamed to a variety of podcast and/or video platforms. Please feel free to visit Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google to listen to the show or future shows at a later date. And as a reminder, this show is not financial advice. Enjoy the show.
Thank you. And real quick before I get into everything, we got added to a couple platforms today. Did you want to talk about that, DM son?
Definitely, I can. I don't actually. There's so many of them now. I don't actually have them written down where I can access them. I know one was in Spain. The actual app, you have to convert it to English from Spanish. So that was exciting. I believe it was VOOX, maybe. Um, the other one is a smaller platform in the United States. The interesting thing about it was they grabbed the RSS feed. So they can. We've typically been pushing this out to the community, whether it's on Spotify or Apple. Those were things we had to actively go push our show onto their platform and get them to accept it. With these new two, they actually pulled the feed themselves. So they went and looked for it and then added it to their platform instead of us pushing it onto it. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, man. And I wasn't even looking for the specific names because I know we have so much to keep up with. But yeah, he's exactly right. In the past, we've applied to get on a platform. Today, we had two platforms just add us, and one's in Spain, so it goes directly to Spanish. I thought that was awesome. That meant a lot to us because anytime we can reach other parts of the world with the Safe Moon message, that's what it's all about. We're doing this for the group. We're doing this for our team, right? Because our team is what this is all about. We want to reach as many people as possible and give everybody the benefit of being a part of this group because this group interaction is the best thing about SafeMoon, right? Our community is what drives this, getting to know everybody on a personal level, getting to grow together and all succeed together. Those are the greatest wins in life. And so I just wanted to share that with all you guys to begin the show. Had a couple nice platforms at us. I'm sure we'll have more in the future, but consider that a collective win for everyone. That's not about us. You guys did that. The audience has always made the show. So the content we're putting out is due to you guys engaging and providing valuable and intelligent feedback. So I just wanted to let everybody know that. Uh, great weekend. It's been in the 70s out here, so it's been really positive. I think we got a lot to look forward to. I'll start tonight by talking about the cross chain swaps. I found this really interesting. We had talked about this on the last show, how we saw this as a possibility. The team's going to do that on March 23rd, was the announcement. So that you'll be able to swap between the Binance Smart Chain and the ERC20 chain, Ethereum chain. They also talked about the migration of P SafeMoon, where you could migrate it to the Binance Smart Chain, or they have another way in which you could keep it on the Ethereum chain. I thought that was nice because that answered things for our community that still has P SafeMoon, and it's going to give us that cross swap functionality that John had hinted at in previous tweets. So I just thought that was a really good moment for all of us. I want you guys to know that I think we have great things on the horizon. At the end of the last show, we had Don touch on that, and we also had him touch on the Bitcoin pairing, which we think are going to be two key catalysts within the SafeMoon ecosystem. I think it's going to be a really good month. I think we got a lot to look forward to. I'm anxious to hear what all of you guys have to say tonight on your theories, thoughts on the cross-chain swap, uh, Bitcoin pairing. Will we have Connect this month? That's a question, right? I think it's possible. You had Ryan's tweet, which said load up. I think he was referencing the loading bar. It was my opinion on that. You also had the loading bar move up one notch. Connect is going to be a big deal for SafeMoon. It's going to connect all the social media platforms. You also have the POS system. Some people are talking exchange possibly this month. I don't know if I would go there yet. I still think they have a lot of work to do on it, but we're getting there. There's incremental progress each week. You can see new partners being added to the swap volumes increasing. I think the key is, they're going to have the Ethereum pairing, they're going to have the cross swap, the Bitcoin pairing, and then Ryan earlier today said that he's going to add about 6 bridges as well. Okay, so 6 other bridges to native coins. Native coins would mean coins with a blockchain. I think that's really important too. Solana, I don't believe is going to be one of them, just based on one of John's previous posts. He said something like they're kind of their own forest, but there's going to be other things that are going to give us capability. We can talk about that tonight, what that possibly might look like, what that might be. We have a really intelligent community, so would love to get all your thoughts on that. I think we're moving in the right direction. You got to look at crypto as a whole right now, and not just look at this as Safemoon. Safemoon Warrior had a great tweet today, which I retweeted, and he was comparing Safemoon's chart over the last 3-4 months to other projects in the ecosystem. He's comparing it to Crow. He's comparing it to Cardano, Bitcoin, Ethereum. And if you look, the charts they're all about the same. Given maybe a few percentage points. But what you see is the crypto market as a whole is down. It's a cyclical thing. It's a natural cycle. If you've been in crypto long enough, you know that this happens, and then things start to move back. And those of you new to this, I just want you to know that that's a normal cycle in crypto. You go through bear and bull markets. Right now, we're in more of a bear market. There's a little bit global uncertainty. Bitcoin's down a little bit. Market tends to follow Bitcoin to a point as well. So just want everybody to know that. I'm sure some of you already know that, but for our new people, just wanted to throw that out there. Would love to get you guys up to speak. Dan, your thoughts?
Anytime there is more activity going on than you can really talk about in terms of remembering every piece of it is a good thing. Chris is correct. Crypto, the stock market, it's all cyclical. So, I would rather go through these evolutions in a bear market myself, because when it finally turns, I want these things in place. I do not like going through evolving with items like we are with the cross chain, with the working on building our decks up, different things like that. I would prefer to do that in a down market. It makes more sense as far as sustainable growth. And that way, when it does turn, we're going to be ready. And you also don't see a lot of projects doing development like we are to the level we are right now, which is exciting. I mean, they were ready for this. It's almost like they planned for this. So it's exciting. I think this is the best time to be buying, not financial advice, but I can't think of a better time to do it. There's no fee on MoonPay. I mean, my God, I'm buying. So, well, for whatever that counts.
Yeah, and Don and Lee brought up a really good point in their previous space. I wanted to bring it up here before I forget. They were talking about cross-chain liquidity pools that they brought up to Ryan, and Ryan said that was something they were working on. And the overall point to that is when you have several different, currencies, whether they're native tokens or tokens in the Safemoon ecosystem, what that leads to is stability. Okay. And the reason that leads to stability where you don't have massive price fluctuations is because most of you that are seasoned know this. Not everything moves at the same time, right? You're going to have some that are going to move up and some that are going to move down, but not everything's going to be constant with every token or coin in the ecosystem. So cross-chain liquidity pools allows for a lot more stabilization with SafeMoon. And when you think about that, that helps you realize how really early all of us are, right? Because we've had a lot of volatility in the beginning of this. We're just barely a year in, right? So they're building the system out, not just with the exchange, but with the cross chain, with the liquidity movement, with the functionality, with the Bitcoin pairing. All these things they're doing is all with a big picture in mind. They're not looking short term. They're looking at this as a long term, project that we can all invest in with done the right way, regulatory and lawful. So just want everybody to realize that. I know like not every day is going to have like a ton of news, but what we try to focus on here is the big picture and focus on what's important and get into the analysis of why this is a standard in cryptocurrency, why we feel like this is going to be something evolutionary. Honey Badger. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Case. How are you?
Good,
Good.
man. It's good to hear from you.
Yeah, it's good to hear your voice too, Chris. Dom, how are you?
I'm great, brother.
Good. Say, I just want to touch base and real quickly here. I'm on vacation with my family here, but I was able to listen to a little bit today with Ryan speaking. And Chris, it was good to hear you just say, we're talking about the big picture here. And I just want to start out, kind of with this. And the fact of the matter is, I've made it pretty clear that I'm not a real nuts and bolts guy with crypto yet. I'm learning as I'm going, but the constant question that I have, and I continue to have, as I ask myself, is this investment real? And I just want to start the space out from a speaker standpoint, saying that, again, and I'll start saying the not financial advice too, because that's the appropriate thing to say. But I'm telling you, this is an investment that, as a traditional investor, when I invest in a startup, or I look to put my money into somewhere that I trust, you look at the people that are developing it. And when I listen to Fudhound talk today, the guy is put together, and I am so excited. I've never been more excited. As I stepped into this process, I was listening to the hosts, I was listening to you, Chris, Dom, all the different hosts across the spaces, and you kind of wade into the water, you know, hesitantly, frankly, because when you're new to crypto and you're putting your money somewhere and investing in what we've learned to become, at least what I believe, that this is a technology company that's starting in the crypto world and is moving on to the philanthropy, the humanitarian efforts, the technology, and all the above. And for me personally, when I invest my money, and especially in the space of crypto, I look at it like, okay, let me translate this to something that I understand, which is traditional investing. And in listening to Ryan today, this is a company, and he doesn't have all the answers, right? He's developing this company as he just went through transition. For those that have been long enough, and I've actually been around long enough and listened to enough spaces, I understand, the transitions that this company started with and where it ended up now and where it continues to go. And it's going to be a continual, challenge and developing process. But my point is, and I'll leave it here, is that I am very comfortable continuing to invest in this technology company. And I believe in the developers. I think that they are going to continue to do what they feel is best for the company. And I think we as investors need to be responsible investors too. And when I say that, I mean give these developers the time and space to breathe and to develop this company. And I think it is the real deal. Again, I'll say it, not financial advice, because I'm not offering financial advice. What I'm saying is I'm comfortable putting my money in a technology company as it sits right now. And if the future says that I was wrong and I lost my money, so be it, because that's a decision that I'm making. And every investor needs to be a mature, educated investor and make that same decision. But never more have I felt more comfortable after listening to him talk and listening to the spaces and such brilliant speakers and people that have done all that research that know a lot about crypto and are very technically advanced people. Never more have I felt more comfortable, and I will continue to do so. And I just hope for the company for the best, and I hope for all the Safemoon Army the best. And I think there's a bright future to come.
Thank you, my man. Let's give him a stack him. He's on vacation with the family and thought it was important enough that he came in here. I really appreciate that, my friend. And I agree. I had been really busy with work over the last week and a half. I got the opportunity to come in on a couple spaces today and listen to our brilliant community and listen to some really good technical analysis and really get to hear some voices. And it's great. Sometimes I just want to come in and listen to you guys, man. We do enough talking on here. I also got to go on a space Saturday night when I got out of work with Mandoge and Whiskey. They held one, and it was wonderful to hear them too. They've been with us since the beginning. We talked a little Safe Moon, but we just got to talk a little bit about life too. It was refreshing. It's like being with family, right? Anytime you get everybody together. So everybody keep doing what you're doing because it's important and it's valuable for the community. Everybody knows that. You don't need me to say that, but I just wanted to mention that tonight because I think a lot of times we go through the day to day, right? We go through the motions and people don't always get credit for the work they're putting in, but it's valuable to tell somebody that they're meaningful and the work they're doing is really rewarding for all of us. So I just wanted everybody to know that before we get into things tonight. And I thank you for bringing that up, my friend. Galaxy. Bring Galaxy up. Looks like we're having a minute connecting. Galaxy, go ahead. Hi, Galaxy, you're up. Galaxy 11, you are on the mic. Going once, going twice. All right, we will move forward from Galaxy. Dan, your thoughts on what he was saying?
I look at it in terms of, today I wasn't able to listen to Ryan. I had an emergency come up at work. So I wasn't able to catch him. I have a lot of confidence in the team, the people that John has assembled. I think he's picked some great people, people that we didn't have when we started this. I don't want to use the term "fake it till you make it," but in the beginning, he was scrambling, in my opinion, and now he's stepped back and he's assembled the forces that he needs. But the team in crypto, especially in the segment that I believe Safemoon is going to target with their marketing, being the general public, retail, merchandisers, Safemoon Connect. It's only as strong as the community. And the Safemoon community is a cut above the rest. I mean, it is the strongest community in crypto. Um, you can see that in the spaces that are held throughout the day. You can see that even in the profile pictures that people put up. Something as simple as that. Ultimately, when you have a community that is that strong, and call it what it is, when you have that much money in the community behind it, it's very difficult to fail, in my opinion. And it's very, very difficult to fail when you have competent leadership, which I believe we do. So I'm very excited about that. Along the lines of the community, I'm wondering how crossing the chains will speed up the P Safemoon holders to coming over. I'd like to hear anyone that holds P Safemoon what their take is on that. Anyone in the audience who is more technical than I am, which that's about 95% of the audience, I'd like to hear your take on that. It's exciting. So, I think the community plays a huge part of Safemoon. At least 90 out of 100 is the community.
Yeah, and even something that I think a lot of people missed today, they were talking about people on V1, right? Because like that's been the criticism, where if they lost money converting from V1 to V2, they were looking at reimbursing people as well. So that was a good faith gesture as well. That's not something that we anticipated maybe happening. So I thought that was a good thing as well. I think they have good command of this right now. They have a good command of this. They have more, tokens being added. Of course, we got the exchange. I think the exchange probably April, May. We got I guess the next big event right now would look like the 12th, which is going to be the Safemoon event at Daily Grit House in Austin, Texas. I think some of you will be there. It would be great to get a report from one of you guys just to tell us what the air is like, atmosphere. I think they'll have something to announce before then. I don't know exactly what it will be. We know it's not going to be the cross-chain swaps. That's going to be March 23rd. But maybe something with Unicrypt, right? With moving this liquidity from V1 to V2. And the reason I'm saying that is that they're looking at reimbursing people from V1 on that conversion. So I'm thinking like that's part of it, right? With everything they're doing with Unicrypt. So that's another catalyst that could be coming. Future's bright, like right now, like I said, the market's down as a whole. So I don't look at Safemoon as much being down. I look at Safemoon acting like the market right now. Which gives us more opportunity to add to our bags, and also gives us more opportunity for reflections as well, because when the price is lower, the reflections are higher. So I just thought I would add that as well. Would love to get some of you guys up here, get your thoughts. I know it's kind of a slower time in March, but like as they said, they're anticipating a month of activity here for us. Global tokenomics, Mandala, a lot of people are asking about that. Will that lead to a Binance listing? I think it's certainly possible. But I also saw a tweet today from Mr. Adult where he said that the next listing would not be Binance. So interested on your thoughts on that too. Who it could be, what we see coming. So there's a lot to talk about, or anything you guys want to bring up tonight. You know, if there's something that we're not covering that you think was key, I would love to hear your thoughts on that. I'm just trying to run down the whole gambit with you guys and get your thoughts on everything going on. All right. So feel free to come up. We want to get a lot of speakers up here tonight. We're going to talk about everything and cover everything Safemoon. All right. And we can even cover even further out if you want. I just think we got a lot to look forward to. Dan, thoughts?
My thoughts are, what in the hell's Fonzie going to do if they pay back all these people from V1? You know, I can't wait to put Fonzie on blast after that happens. You know, I'm counting down the days to that. But that was exciting to see, and I thought we would see something like that once everything was said and done. Makes me think that they are getting ready to move the liquidity like we talked about through Swap and Evolve, which that will be massive if they do that. I think they are going to do that. Um, you know, I think there's an awful lot of reflections right now with the price low. It is stable. The price is stable. It may not be what we want to see, but compared to a lot of things in the market right now, SafeMoon is pretty stable. Um, it really is. I've been watching it very closely, and I think it's about to pop off. You know, that's just my personal opinion, but I really do.
I just look at it right now as we're building everything for the next bull run, right? So like everybody has their different investments, and I look at it like we're all preparing for the next bull run right now. All right, like whatever you're in right now, you're getting it lower than you normally would. If you got in high, right, your dollar cost averaging down, right? Everything. I mean, I today I couldn't believe it. I looked at Cardano, and I'm not knocking Cardano, believe me. I saw it get down to like 89 cents at one point. I looked today, I thought I saw it at like 85, 86 cents. So we're seeing things in the market we just haven't seen. I mean, Cardano was up over $3 last year. I think a lot of people forget that, right? So right now things are just lower. Crow, was up close to $1 at one point. I think it was 96 cents. It's under 40 cents right now. Bitcoin, obviously everybody knows that's really come down. Ethereum's really come down. It's in the lower twos right now. So I think you look at the market as a whole, right? And I think what people are going to do is they're going to determine where they think their money is best. Because in a bear market, that's what people are going to shift to. They're going to say, okay, what do I have the most confidence in, right? Well, I definitely have that confidence in SafeMoon, right? There's other things that are lower right now, but that doesn't mean I have the confidence in them, right? And there's a lot going on globally. And so I think that's the uncertainty in the market right now. I look at it as an opportunity. Not everybody does, but I've been through this before. So what happens is when the market goes up, everybody says, damn, I could have got this a year ago at this, right? And I missed it. Or when you're in a bear market, everybody says, oh man, it's so low right now. But it's in a bull market when you look back at the bear market and say, I missed my opportunity or I took advantage of my opportunity. One of the two things always happens. Badger, you're back up.
Yeah, sorry about that, Chris. Earlier, I think I might have got stuck in the blockchain. But will you do me a favor, as long as it's kind of quiet in the room here, and maybe some other people can come up and explain it to me too, because I know that I'm probably not the only ones that have the questions. That it was brought up towards one of the end of your shows the other night, but I believe it was Don Bailey that was talking about, basically, Safemoon Wallet as it continues to evolve to become a holder of many products, or I'm sorry, many projects and coins. And explain to me a little bit, if you're able to, or if someone else is able to come up that has a good handle on it, tokenomics versus cryptonomics. And I think my understanding was, basically, when these other projects come into the spaces, they'll continue to earn reflections or rewards on the coin that they're holding or token that they're holding. And does that come back to them in SafeMoon or in the actual token or coin that they're holding? Is that how does that work exactly? I didn't want to step in the other night because it was so technical. But as long as we have some time here, I'd appreciate a little bit of clearing that up for me. Maybe others as well.
Yeah. So, okay. Tokenomics is what you have right now with SafeMoon, right? So tokenomics would mean that on every transaction, okay, buy or sell, you're going to have a percentage of that going back to all the holders, right? I think everybody understands that. Cryptonomics means the tokens that you have in the SafeMoon ecosystem or native coins, right, as they're added with pairings, are going to have what's called cryptonomics, which means that with every buy and sell, let's say it's Bitcoin, you're going to get a piece of that transaction, a percentage. So I believe it will be in Bitcoin. Now, it will be in Bitcoin or whatever coin you're holding or token. What's going to be used as the gas fee and that swap is going to be the SafeMoon token. So you're going to be burning SafeMoon with that process during every swap, and that's going to decrease the circulating supply and increase the volume in the SafeMoon ecosystem. Does that make sense?
It does. So if I'm sitting outside, I mean, obviously, in that cryptonomics is what's going to encourage people sitting outside of the ecosystem to bring theirs into ours. Is that correct? And then so for example, if I'm a Bitcoin person, I bring Bitcoin into the SafeMoon wallet, hold it in there, and then cryptonomics is going to, as the Bitcoin holder, reward me in cryptonomics. You're saying for every transaction, is that correct?
Correct. So think of the same use case system you have with SafeMoon being introduced to all the other coins and tokens on the SafeMoon ecosystem. So with every buy and sell, you're going to have a increase in the tokens you have. So if you're a Bitcoin holder, you don't have that on another exchange. It gives you the incentive to be a part of the SafeMoon ecosystem to add to your Bitcoin, or if it's Ethereum, right, or Affinity, or whatever you may be holding, right. And then you're going to have staking come into play too, as well, with these tokens and coins. So all part of the SafeMoon ecosystem. So it's going to be staking with SafeMoon. It's going to be staking with reflections. My theory is if you're going to have tokenomics on these as well, you're going to be able to stake them. You're going to have staking with reflections with these as well. Somebody, if they don't think that's right, you can come up. That's fine. But I think that's probably what we're going to see.
I appreciate that, Chris. Thank you.
I just had like 3 speakers come up at the same time. That was weird. Have you ever seen that, Dan?
Yeah. No, I've not seen them come up that quick fire like that before. No.
That was kind of weird, but all right, we got it, man. Let's do this. Let's go to Tune, and then we're going to go to Crift. Go ahead, Tune. All right, you know what? Looks like he dropped. Let me go to Crift. Go ahead, Crift.
All right, yeah. Well, thank you for having me up tonight. So one just great thing of this whole bridge I'm seeing is the need no longer to have something like a safe moon and a peace safe moon, I think. But I mean, this might just be a good conversation, because maybe, with the cross chain, we no longer need, let's just say a Crift coin on the Binance Smart Chain and the SafeMoon blockchain. And so I'm just curious if that's like a correct perspective to have.
It's a good question, man. I'm trying to figure that out as you were saying it. I don't think we know yet. What do you think? What's your perspective?
Yeah, yeah, well, yeah, I mean, I do think it definitely eliminates it, the need to have two separate or the same token on two separate blockchains. And then I think, through the competition of that, it would even perhaps lower the gas fees because, a lot of the gas fees are based on the competition to validate the transaction. But, if you could have, let's just say, a Shiba Inu token on the Binance chain, right? That's going to be a lot cheaper in gas to move. And so just inherently, more people will start having, uh, BSC Shiba Inu instead of ETH Shiba Inu, and then ultimately lower the competition on ETH and kind of, just overall lower the gas fees.
That makes a hell of a lot of sense what you're saying because I get it. You're talking, with Shiba, that's an ERC20, right? So that means an Ethereum token. And the big knock with all Ethereum tokens, like, if you're trying to sell it or even, when you're trying to exchange it, has been the gas fee, right? I can remember people that were selling Shiba Inu complaining about the gas fee because the gas fees were huge. And that's what they're trying to solve with Ethereum 2.0, but they're not there yet on that. So what you're saying is with this cross chain, that would give the ability for people to not have those gas fees. That alone, I think, would make people just flock to the Safemoon ecosystem.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I mean, I can't wait. I think SafeMoon is setting new standards. It's amazing that they're only as old as they are, and it's kind of it's inspiring. It all starts with a dream, and it just kind of shows you how far things can go if you just stay committed.
I agree, and I think maybe it's just me. I think a lot of you agree with this. I feel like they have this massive. If you look at this from 20,000 feet above, right? They have this massive plan where they feel like they have a competitive advantage over everything else in the market, right? That's what differentiates them from everybody else. And when we start talking about, eliminating gas fees with Ethereum tokens, that makes a hell of a lot of sense. Because if you're able to do that, you have a competitive advantage that nobody else has. And then you have that cross-chain functionality to pivot between, Ethereum and Binance Smart Chain tokens, and you also have the ability to swap with Bitcoin, an Ethereum pairing. Like, it just makes sense. This is just something different at this point, right? Like, everybody's looking at this from where we are now. They're not looking at what this is going to become. And I think you hit on a really, really key point. We get that going, that's saving people hundreds of dollars on a transaction. Why wouldn't you be in this ecosystem, right? You're not getting that anywhere else. Stack them. Excellent point. Let's go to Javier. Go ahead, Javier.
Yeah, hi, how's it going? You guys might have covered this already, but I'm just looking at the new listing with the Reflex Finance. Is there more information you guys can maybe provide or something that you guys are willing to invest in?
You know, uh, just being completely transparent here, I saw the listing about an hour ago. I have not done enough research on the project. If somebody wants to come up here and talk about Reflex, that would be great. I know there's somebody here that probably knows a little bit about Reflex and what it is. I just haven't done enough due diligence to comment on it. Okay.
Thank you, man.
Yep. Looks like Jay's coming up. He might have something on it. And then we'll go to Tuna. Hey, Jay, how are you?
I'm good. How about you guys yourselves?
Good.
So I heard you guys speaking about Reflex Finance and Safemoon doing their partnership today. Well, for a while. So I know a little bit about it. I don't know if you guys if you're okay with me talking about it a little bit.
Of course, it's part of the Safemoon ecosystem, and we wanted to have somebody up here talk about Reflex. Go ahead.
So their whole thing is creating a launch pad for rug pull free environment. With their seal of approval, you can buy into a cryptocurrency with knowing that you're not going to be rug pull. And if you do, you're going to get your money's back. So to me, what it sounds like is Reflex Finance is going to be the new pink sale for SafeMoon. Have they officially announced that? No. They said next week they're going to come out with news, and they would love to do like an AMA with I don't know who was on earlier, SafeMoon with the Fudhound, that group that was doing a little ordeal earlier today. I wasn't too sure who it was, but they said they would go back on and announce everything that's going on between them and SafeMoon. They've been saying this whole time, this is a partnership. We're not even like worried about the swap right now. Swap is like the least of our concern. There's bigger plans in the future with SafeMoon and Reflex. Just wait. That's what they're telling us. So I'm excited about it. It just sounds like SafeMoon is growing from all over the place. Like they're gonna have their new pink sale for themselves. They're gonna have more and more situations.
Hey, that's awesome. So it sounds like that's going to be something that just leads, to further credibility, right? Where they're ensuring that there's nothing that's negative that's going to happen with your investment,
Yeah,
right?
so you're pretty much protected by Reflex. They said whatever you put in, I don't know. I think there's a timeline. I'm not positive. I don't know if they said 7 days or whatever they said, but they said in a certain timeline, they can't rug pull you. We promise we'll take care of you. We'll make it better. We promise. So that's what I get from it. It sounds like they're going to be the new pink sale for SafeMoon, and I'm excited.
Hey, that's great information, man. Stack them. I don't know if we've had you up here before, but man, that is really good. Let's go to Tuna, and then we're going to go to Wojak, and then Lou Novak. Go ahead, Tuna. Hey, Tuna, are you
Hey,
there?
yeah. Hey, Chris, how you doing? Hey, Don, what's up, man? Thanks
Good,
for
man. What's
hosting the
up?
show.
Sure.
Chilling, bro. Just hitting some balls in the backyard. Got you guys in the AirPod. You know, wow. Where do I start? Right? What a day. Fudhound was in Zuza space. Was stand up, answered all the questions. And yeah, the quality of the questions were high, man. Just to know that they're thinking what we're thinking. I feel like we're all on the same page, on the same boat. We're all going to the moon.
He must have hit a golf ball pretty hard. Looks like he cut out there for a minute.
The
I believe
Mandela
Tuna's in
thing.
California. Okay. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. I heard
You
Cali.
cut out there for a minute. Go ahead, sir.
No, I had a timer on the steak that I got in the smoker. Sorry about that. But so yeah, a lot of good info today. It's the tri-tip. I'm in Cali. Um, but yeah, a lot of good info from the Floodhound. Was I don't know everything you want in a leader, right? And just to see that he would just schedule it. He put it out there. I'm gonna be on this show at this time. If you guys want to get at me, here I am. And he showed up. We had a great space, and it was really motivating. And the fact that we added reflex today to the swap, it's so many things are happening all at the same time, right? And it just you can actually just almost touch this ecosystem the SafeMoon is putting together, this galaxy that's coming together. Every listing has a purpose, and give it 2 to 3 years, this investment is going to be so productive, so productive. It's. I mean, I'm enjoying the ride, man. Just to say that, you know what, Project Phoenix may be the awakening of the SafeMoon army, because I'm a year in with SafeMoon into this crypto sphere. So maybe Project Phoenix is me getting how this DeFi crypto investment actually is, and it revolves around our community. I mean, to go from a novice of when I was in April 18 when I first got into this project to the person that I am now in this community, I mean that is revolutionary and evolving all at the same time. So that's all I got for you guys. Have a good evening.
Stack them, man. And I'm jealous of you being out in California hitting golf balls and smoking. I mean, that is smoking some meat. That sounds like the perfect night, man. It's still light out where you are. Look, before I go to Dam and then we'll go to Wojak, one thing I wanted to bring up, don't you get the feeling that everything they're adding to this ecosystem is going to play a role in what they're doing? Not just for the tokens that are there and swapping. I mean, that's all great, right? That's going to lead to volume. Volume's the most important thing. But I feel like they're going to take a piece of the technology that these tokens have and incorporate that into SafeMoon, right? We touched on the previous show about affinity, right? With transferring money from one wallet to the other, how you can do that with a username instead of doing that with a contract address, and how seamless that is. And now we're talking about Reflex tonight and how they can ensure that you don't have a loss in funds with your investment, right? So those are just two examples. I think there's even more going on than that, but those are two off the top of my head that make SafeMoon much more efficient and valuable as a system. Dan, go ahead.
As far as Reflex goes, I'm playing catch up. I was busy at work today, but from what I can see, they have a 15% tax. 8% of that currently goes back to holders in BUSD, which that's crazy. I mean, 8%. And it gets more aggressive as time goes on. Their phase two will be the same tax, but 10% of that tax of the 15 will be redistributed to holders in BUSD. 10%.
So they got something very positive going on there. Wojak, you're up, man. Go ahead.
Good evening, Chris. How are you?
I'm great, man. It's always good to see you.
Thank you, brother. So I just wanted to echo what you and Tuna were just talking about the ecosystem. And they're building the fundamentals right now, and they're going to stack on top of it, no pun intended. And I think that's what's happening here. And the last time I spoke on your space, I expressed a desire for the end of the Safemoon Sunday. And I know that's not necessarily a popular opinion, but I'm very glad that thing is gone. I only want to hear from them when they're ready to announce something, and that's beautiful. And just the one last thing I wanted to mention was, you know, uh, we think about some of the biggest companies in the world, obviously Tesla being one of them. Just going to make a quick little comparison here. Um, a lot of car guys might know this, but the original Tesla car actually came out in 2008. They had a Roadster in 2008. And then recently, 5 years ago, they announced their new Roadster. Where is that car? I don't know. 5 years ago, Elon Musk just pushed it back another year. Tesla's still an unbelievably successful company. Where is the Cybertruck? It was supposed to be out. Where is it? I don't see people freaking out. So to freak out about timelines, deadlines, I understand we all want it soon. I get it. We're all excited to, change our life and stuff. But keep in perspective that even huge, massive companies don't meet their deadlines, and it's not a big deal. These guys are going to get it done. I look at their character, Ryan's character, John's character. Listen, these guys have money. They they know what they're doing. So I just want to say, let's everyone stay strong, and things are going to come out when it's time. And that's all I want to say. Thank you, everyone, and have a great night.
Stack them. And you know what? I don't think it's an unpopular opinion, what you said about SafeMoon Sunday. I think a lot of us were getting tired of every 2 weeks. We're not tired of the team, okay? But what was happening was they were doing something based on a routine, not based on when they had something, that was meaningful or exciting to talk about. And they addressed it directly in the video. I thought the communication was outstanding on that video on March 2nd. And what they said was, we're not going to hold something just because we're required to hold it. We're going to hold it when we have something meaningful and important to say. And it's not always going to be on Sunday anymore. And then they went right to that schedule with Grit Daily House on a Saturday. and Austin, Texas, right? Which is a very burgeoning environment. It's full of businesses, restaurants, bars. Like Austin gets great reviews, right? Technology wise, and people speak about it in really great terms. So they were like, we're going to do something new. Let's get out of Utah. Let's go out to Austin, Texas. Let's do it on a Saturday night. Yeah, that's exactly what we need. We need that innovative thinking, and we need to get out of that, mundane routine of a Sunday every 2 weeks. Because let's face it, a lot of us have families, obligations on weekends. We can't always, be right there. And they can have flexibility in the schedule, and they can do it when they have something important to say. It's better from a PR sense as well, right? Wojak, I know you agree with that.
I absolutely do agree with that. And the last thing I wanted to mention was um, so Ryan always says they're developing emerging tech. And I think that what he's trying to express to all of us is that, they're innovating. It's very hard to do what they do. And I was just thinking about Mandala and the problem they're having with the tokenomics. And I was just thinking these guys are just trying to implement us into their system. We're trying to implement everyone into the system. So if an established legitimate company like that is having to troubleshoot this hard, I can only imagine what our team is doing, trying to bring this globally to everyone. So just a little perspective there. And again, yeah, that's all. Thanks. Have a good night, Chris, and everyone else.
Stack them, man. And he's right. Like, we look at this as a cryptocurrency, right? We don't look at this as somebody that's trying to change the world and evolve. There's no projects that are doing this. They're trying to incorporate everybody into a global tokenomics. That's a huge undertaking. So they have the vision to do it, and I believe they have the technical expertise to do it as well. I just think it takes longer than anybody anticipates. I'm okay with them taking as long as they need to take, because when it comes out, I know how monumental it's going to be. I don't even think people realize yet. I think us in the Safemoon community realize what this has the potential to become, but I don't think people outside of the daily, updates with Safemoon that are engaged in this every day and every week understand the ramifications of this. I feel like we're special because of that.
Yeah,
Lou,
let's just say they
go
have
ahead, Tim.
no idea, right? No, I just want just hitting on what you were saying, Chris. I mean, the regular people out there, they're not in these spaces. They have no idea what SafeMoon is and what's coming. But yeah, so just want to touch on that. I saw a lot of swagger with the FUD Hound today, and just want to say that we got to coin that term, SafeMoon swagger, because that's what's coming for the rest of March. The crew is delivering an exchange. All the signs, at least to me, my opinion, is that we are looking at the beginning of the exchange. They haven't coined it yet, but the 23rd. If that was a surprise to me, I at this point I wouldn't be surprised, because that's everything about that thing just screams exchange. And what are your thoughts on that, Chris? Do you think it could possibly be the exchange, SafeMoon exchange?
I don't want to get everybody's hopes too high. I really don't. Like, if it happens, I want to be surprised, and I want us to all take in that moment. I just think that it's going to take so much to build that exchange that I think it will probably come late. If it comes then, we can all be excited and happy and surprised. But I think that we need to have the mindset that it could take a little bit longer. I will tell you that in talking to devs outside of SafeMoon, that they looked at the exchange as the key catalyst from when this thing was going to really shoot off, because they felt like at that point we'd have the volume and we had something that was going to transcend this whole space. And people that are in DeFi have told me they want SafeMoon to succeed, because SafeMoon succeeding is extremely important for all of them to succeed as well. They like the team, they like the people behind SafeMoon, and they want SafeMoon to succeed because they know how important it is for SafeMoon to succeed for everything else to succeed. And that's why, you're starting to see these projects added in the ecosystem. I think it's really important. Let me go back to Wojak, then I'm going to go to Lou, and then we'll go to Joker. Go ahead, Wojak.
Yeah, Chris, I just missed what Ryan was saying in the earlier spaces. So I was just wondering if anyone here just could possibly give a quick recap, possibly, of what he said, a little synopsis, so um, I could catch up. I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, I can touch on some of it, and then we can have people come up after that can touch on it. He did talk about the cross-chain swaps. He did talk about 6 other bridges that were going to be built. So those would be bridges to native coins. Don and Lee were theorizing on what those could be. Harmony was one that they mentioned. Uh, Ethereum, of course, would be one. Then you got others. Solana, I don't think will be one because I think it's a more complex blockchain. But that gives you an idea. Uh, the other thing he touched on was the upgrade, the network upgrade that they're going to be going through, which he had talked about before. And Don and Lee can probably touch on that a lot more technically than I can. They just have that technical expertise. But that network upgrade is going to be a big deal, and I think that's a key piece that they have to have before we move to an exchange, right? And that might play into Connect as well, I think. So the network upgrade, 6 bridges, uh, cross-chain liquidity pools as well. He said that was something they were working on. So that's a brief synopsis. I'm sure the guys have a lot more information than I do, but I just wanted to give you a brief synopsis. Let me go to Lou Novak. Lou, how are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing okay. On a personal note, before I get into my little diatribe, I want to thank everybody that sent out the love, the support, and the prayers for me. Um, been through a rough time this past week. Took a bad tumble, had a little bit of a brain bleed, and got good news today. So it's
Are you doing better, my friend?
yes, yes,
Okay, so you're doing a lot better.
yeah,
What's your prognosis? You healing up?
yeah, yeah. They said that it was a freak occurrence, shouldn't happen again. So I'm thanking God and all the stars above. So.
I'm really sorry you went through that, man, and our prayers are all with you, man. Anytime you need to talk, just let me know.
Definitely. So let me switch gears here, get my composure back. Um, one of the things that I've noticed is that we've only seen maybe, if we're lucky, 20% of the darks of all of the stuff that they have sitting there. I mean, we've seen this 15% that's in the light side of the moon, but the dark side, there's still 85%. Now down to maybe 80% that hasn't even been revealed yet to us. This is a juggernaut that people are not. I don't think because they're caught in the moment. They're not seeing the largest of the large picture, and as a result, I just don't see anything but positives and successes coming out of this. And anybody who doesn't see it is just not opening their eyes to the reality of it. And I'm glad I jumped on board. I've only been in since November, as most of you know, but I've been able to drop my overall cost of exposure down to under 20 cents, 0.0020, which for me is phenomenal. And I'm going to keep going. I've become a semi whale. And it's phenomenal the way that this community has come together and gotten behind John and the team. And yeah, there's the detractors, but who cares about them? You know, they're the wimps, the pimps, the wimps, the simps, and the futter pimps, as I put it earlier to you. They're just, you know, they don't mean anything. And they're going to be the first ones coming back crawling and saying, oh, well, we knew that it was going to do this, that, and the other thing. You know, go peddle your papers somewhere else, boys. We're here for real. We're here to stay. And we're going to move this to the moon and beyond. This is going to be galactic, not just to the moon. And that's all I got to say.
Stack 'em, man. I'm glad to see you're in good health, and you're right, man. Like people, there's a lot of doubters, man. But anytime there's doubters, just remember the people that were here the whole time that understood, what this was and had the vision, and that's why we're here together because we
Yeah.
know what we have.
It was
So,
funny. I see, actually, Brandon's just tweeting something now. They were going after Brandon Fugel. It was hilarious. He's letting them have it with both barrels. It's hilarious. So, but enough
And
about.
go ahead.
I say enough about that stuff because we need to focus on the positive and forget about all the negativity that they surround themselves with. They won't bring us down.
No, and that's the key, man. Is like, take it with a grain of salt and move on, man. There's no point. Like, some things that can get brought up can be valid. If you bring something up and it's constructive and there's a solution that you have in mind, well, that's valid. We talked about Safemoon Sunday.
Well,
How we
sure.
thought we could do better with that, and Wojak brought that up, and he was right. I mean, he was right. It was getting mundane, and it wasn't the best, and they didn't always have news to give us.
Well,
But you know what? They listened and they implemented a new strategy.
and it was closing out some of the old cadre ways of doing things too, which I think was imperative.
Yeah, I mean, you're a former CEO of a company, right, Lou?
Current.
Current. Okay. I stand corrected.
It's not
So,
doing a lot right now, obviously, but yeah.
okay, so you've had to evolve your company, I'm sure, in the past, and you've had to do things and listen to people and make changes. I mean, what's
Yep.
that like?
Oh, yeah. It's difficult. I mean, you have to. If you're doing more than 20% of the talking, you're talking way too much. You have to hear what their needs are, how to identify what those needs are, how to identify how to adapt your company to meet those needs, and then deliver on the product. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And John's doing that, and I think they're getting this right. And the communication has been stellar.
Yeah.
It hasn't always been in the past, but I believe since March 2nd, they're really getting on point with the
Well,
messaging, and they're admitting where they've been wrong, and they're owning it. Go ahead.
and he's been growing into the position, which is phenomenal to see. You always want to see an executive move into a position and then grow with it, not just become a stale day after day just doing the job thing. He's adapting, he's growing, he's bringing people around him. The key to a successful CEO or manager or leader is someone who surrounds himself with the people that can get the job done for him because he can't do it all.
Yeah, I know you have good people around you, man. You'd be the first to tell me that.
I sure try to. And when they find out that they aren't living up to expectations, they're no longer there. They can't be.
Yeah, man. Good insight. And it's good to hear that you're well, man. Let's do this. Let's go to Joker, and then we're going to go cold deep, and then we'll go back to Chris. Go ahead,
All
Joker.
right. Take care, folks.
Hey, good evening, everybody. So I do have a question for the group. Uh, I'm not going to get up here and criticize. I know some of you have heard me rant for a long time. So, but first, before I do that, I just want to say, for Chris and everyone that's in um, this space to me has been one of the most valuable and uh, community-rich, spaces that we can be on. And I know that there might be some people even in the space tonight that would think that's a detractor towards, everything that they've, heard on these spaces. But these spaces have always been very constructive, in my opinion. And so I just want to, with everything that Chris is going through, I want to give a shout out to, your resolve to, continue to do this and to be the stand-up kind of guy that you are. So, kudos to you, my friend. I appreciate it. I also want to second what I've heard. I love everything that I'm seeing lately. I do think, by the way, that, since August, when Ryan really kind of came on board, this project has really had a strong technical backing. Like, if you look at Ryan's pedigree and what he's done in the past, like, I don't think he just came on board with an idea that he might get thrown into something that was going to be, coming back on him tenfold. So I love it. I think Ryan's doing a lot of directing towards how this project evolves. And so um, I don't want to, I might even go as far as to say that, I kind of look at Ryan being more important to the project now than maybe Thomas was in the beginning. I just think that's the way that the project has evolved. So that being said, I want to ask a question to the group, because I started thinking about this with the price dropping, and I know that they can't really control what's happening in the crypto economy right now. But I remember back in December when they talked about the V2 contract, and we all know the security elements that were written into the contract for V2. So I mean, I don't want to downplay what those mean to to the project, but the consolidation was an optional thing, and I'm trying to figure out right now, because the consolidation, when it was communicated to us, was it almost sounded like it was a utility for them to be able to go out and do things like bring in the Mandelas and the other exchanges because of the way that the price was. And now that we've kind of seen that price dwindle down again, beyond their control, I totally get it. I'm just trying to figure out like what was the end goal in that consolidation, because right now with the way that things are going, I could see us losing at least a zero. And I don't I mean, I don't really care too much about that, but that gets us 1-0 closer to where we were at 6 months ago. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, from the rest of the group, like, do we see that as being a necessity, or was it something that we didn't need to do and they just did it to kind of hope see if they could grab some new hype, if you will?
No, I think what you're saying is a valid question. And I think it's a good point, man. And, let me just say this. Anytime you come up and you articulate something intelligently, then I think we can address it for sure. So I think they had to. I think they had to do it for the exchange for the Bitcoin and Ethereum pairings, right? To be not 6 zeros right behind. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I could see that. I guess, but and you know what, jumping from 5 zeros to 2 probably makes them a little, puts them in that position to be a little bit better. And maybe that's why they did, they went from 5 zeros to 2, so that if they lost a little bit, at least it was 3 zeros rather than 4. I guess my concern, and I'm not trying to be worry wart here or anything, is like, what happens if the crypto economy, like I read something today where people, and I, God help us if we see this, but I heard people saying that they could see if this thing in Ukraine goes any further, and the way that the world economies are going, that Bitcoin could drop down to $12,000. And I'm sitting there just going, what does that mean for the rest of the crypto world? So,
It means I'm buying.
I'm well, yeah, you know what? I mean, and I think that's the one thing that we're probably all doing here, right? We're all buying right now, aren't we? I mean, I know I have. So, but the bigger picture for SafeMoon is like, we did this consolidation thing for a purpose. And is the crypto downtrend right now going to potentially impact whatever plans the project has? And I guess that's maybe I'm being a little bit of a worrywart at this point, but I'm just I looked at the consolidation as a good thing back in December, and now I'm kind of like, okay, we're in that gray area where I'm like, I know it can go down, things fluctuate, but at what point does what you did more for publicity, if you will, versus utility?
So before I go to Dan, I think all your points are valid. And let me first start by saying this. I don't think the V2 migration went the way the team wanted it to go. I don't think that's any secret. I think we're kidding ourselves if we say that it went flawlessly, because we still have people in V1. I think we have some wallets that are just like lost wallets, right? I believe eventually they're going to have to do a forced migration into V2. I do think that they did pre-plan with the movement of 3 zeros, that if it were to fall back, that it would still pair a lot better with Bitcoin and Ethereum for the exchange. And then something that they didn't highlight in the past, because I think it's hard for them to highlight this. I think there was a lot greater security in the V2 contract than there was in the V1. But it's kind of hard for SafeMoon to come out and
I
say,
agree.
Yeah.
Totally
Okay.
agree.
Okay. So we're on the same page there.
Yeah.
It's hard for Safemoon to come out and say, hey, we're going to have a lot greater security with this next contract. And then you're going, well, what about the security in my contract? And they don't want to cause like a worry there, right? So we completely agree on that. I think if we gain a zero, which could happen, I'm not saying it will happen. I still think we're better positioned in an exchange with the pairing with Bitcoin and Ethereum.
I mean, I'll be totally honest, and I know there's almost 300 people in this space, and I don't want to sound like a futter here, but I'm hoping that it does lose a zero because I have some money sitting in reserves that I'm kind of watching it going, please just hit 9.8 for like 20 minutes so that I can go make a big purchase. That's all I'm asking. I mean, I'm sorry to say that, but that when I see these downtrends, I'm just like, okay, I thought you couldn't go any lower, but if you're going to go this low, keep going a little bit lower for me right now, and I'll buy it when it's about to pick back up.
And let me say this too, because I've had some people speak to me about Joker in the past, and they think that he's, maybe like soft fudding. I don't think he fuds at all. I just want to be completely clear about this. Joker has a perspective where he looks at things and really analyzes them. And I don't believe it's FUD at all, guys. I think he's bringing up valid points. And this is the other thing, too. He buys the hell out of Safeman. So, like, when people, like, he's not one of these guys that's coming up here and saying, hey, what do you think of this? And wants feedback and is not in Safeman. I mean, he's buying it sometimes multiple times a day. Okay. Let's go to Damn Son. Go ahead, Damn.
Yeah, Joker. I think he got kicked down earlier. That wasn't us. That was Twitter. I sent you a message in your DM, so I'm glad you were able to get back up. I was thinking, damn, I really wanted to hear what he had to say, and then you got kicked. So I definitely do not look at what he says is FUD. To me, he says what many of us are already thinking. It's a lot of things that we're thinking that, we just don't want to say. So he has the guts to vocalize it. It's definitely not FUD. My response to the current situation on losing zeros in the market, as someone who leads a business in multiple states, I lead a division of my company in a very, very regulated industry. There's things I know that I don't know, and then there's things I don't know that I don't know. And when you come across events like what's going on in the Ukraine with Russia, with the market, those are things that they didn't know that they didn't know, and that's when leadership really shows up. You find out what you have in terms of leadership when you get hit with something you didn't see coming.
I agree. And can I interrupt real quick? John put out a tweet today. I just want to say this real quick. Uh, you know, I've been critical in the past of John's behavior, and that's been his youthfulness. I get it. But the tweet he put out today about the whole Ukraine-Russia thing, I think was perfect. And I know some people kind of flamed him, and maybe they, are sitting in that scenario right now. But I think that was the appropriate response from a CEO of a tech company to come out and say. So I give him as many thumbs ups as I possibly can.
Oh, absolutely. And what I really liked about what he did was he didn't rush to speak. He sat back. He looked at what was going on. I'm sure he consulted with Ryan and many other people. And then his response was it was a response of humanity. It wasn't a response of taking a side. I think it was very well written. But yeah, I'm happy to see the Safe Moon Sundays being discontinued. I think Ryan is more than adept, and he's very polished. He speaks very well. He can fly off the cuff, very, very good. So, I think him showing up in spaces to the community is a great replacement. He can pop in and out, and then when they do bring us a something like an AMA, they can bring something that's very polished and very well put together. That's something you had spoke about before in a previous show, I believe.
Yeah, I think the overall theme is that they didn't plan on something like this happening with market conditions. I don't think anybody could have really foresaw that coming. I think we'll be okay, is my take on it. I don't think it's going to ruin anything they have long term. I think, let me say this, they didn't see this coming this soon, but I think they planned for it just in case. Meaning that when you had it moved, they had it move 3 zeros instead of 2 zeros because it can still pair at that point. I mean, it's a question we can ask the team. I think they'll be transparent about the question. I don't think you'll have a problem with it. It could happen. You know,
I agree. I agree.
it's something that could happen. I mean, let's not kid ourselves, right? Like, if Bitcoin happens to move back, you know, I've seen 17,000. I haven't seen quite 12,000. I've talked to some people behind the scenes that think that things could move back. Some of the conversations I've had is, do you put your money in USDT? Do you put it in the bank? I mean, how do you, you know, these are some of the discussions I've had behind the scenes. Like you, I can tell you that if it were to move back like that, I'm going to do exactly what you're doing, Joker. Be loading up, man, because it's not something that we would have ever envisioned, an opportunity like that, right? So if you have long-term plans in this and you have confidence in the team and what they're delivering, I look at it as an opportunity and only a temporary price.
Yeah, by the way, not NFA, not financial advice, but yeah, I totally agree. And I think that's one of those things, by the way, that, you know, we all look at this, you know, they say when you make an investment of something like this, you should just, okay, great. I'm in this for the long haul. I'm going to look at this, you know, in a month or 3 months. This is such an active project and community, though, that, you know, we're looking at this daily. I mean, nobody in this room can lie. They're looking at it daily, if not multiple times daily. I mean, I do. So when something like this happens, you want to just look at the trend. And what's funny is to watch, like, how the industry trends and how SafeMoon reacts. Like, because I've seen Bitcoin be down, but BNB be up. And I know everyone says, like, well, we follow what BNB does. But at the same time, like, I'll see BNB be down and Bitcoin up, and SafeMoon is, you know, it's up. You know, maybe it's a percentage up, but it's still trending up. So for me, you know, it's one of those things where you can give yourself an ulcer if you watch it every day. You know, and if you're, you know, if you've got $500 in this project and you put that money in there and you thought that in 3 months you were going to be living in Beverly Hills, then you should wait till this money like gets to a good point, and you should pull your money out and find something else better to invest in, because this is a long-term project. It's not going to be something that you're going to, you know, win Lambo tomorrow. And, you know, when I put my money into it, that's exactly what I did. Is I was looking for something that I could get in early on, and I've been in here since May of last year. So I was unfortunately not one of the March or the April guys, but I've made opportunities when there have been dips to add to my bags to cut my, you know, my buys at, you know, the 1.5. And it's at the point right now when we're dipping down to, like, you know, the 11s or even the 10s. I'm like, all right, well, I've lost a little bit, but this is still another opportunity for me to buy, because when it goes back up to 17, I'm up. Like, I'm looking really good right now, and I have more opportunity to buy at the lower prices than I do when it starts to soar. And I think that that's where, you know, we want a lot of those. You know, we want the exchange, we want the blockchain. I think you're right. The exchange is going to be the catalyst when that comes out, and I think that they've laid a lot of the foundation for what that could be for the community, and for not just for the SafeMoon community, but for the crypto community in general. You know, when you see an exchange like Mandela going through technical issues on how to figure out how to make this work, like, that's that's the Apples, that's the Googles, that's the first time that somebody does something, that we're seeing this right now. And we are sitting by, just waiting for it to pop. And the paper hands are going to FUD and they're going to bitch and moan. But man, when a company like Mandela and SafeMoon figure out how to make this work, and then they can, copy and paste that into the other exchanges. I know everyone wants to see Binance when that happens. These spaces aren't going to be 300 people. They're going to be 3,000 people. We're going to be talking about what we're doing. Half the time we're going to be talking about these times when we're just, bitching and moaning about this or that little pet peeve. And there's not going to be more pet peeves. So I'm sorry, I'll get off my block right now, man.
No, man, you're excellent. And I'm going to give you a double stack them. That's a stack them, stack them. And let me say this, man. The topic you brought up was not sensitive. This is a relevant, intelligent discussion that we need to have as holders. Okay. So I have no issue with this at all. If somebody is sensitive about this topic, then I think we're not having an intelligent discussion and we're not really talking about what's going on. And so I commend you on coming up here and talking about this because I think it's an important thing. It's one thing to tweet about it, it's another to have an intelligent discussion and examine this from all sides. He's definitely pro SafeMoon. He's just looking at how this is going to benefit, him. If it does dip down, what are the ramifications of it? How does it affect what we're doing going forward? It's all relevant and it's all interesting, and it's something that we need to discuss as a community. That's one of the things we need to do in evolving. It can't be, all sunshine and rainbows, right? we got to be honest about it too. So I think it benefits us, man. I think it leads to a more credible program, and it makes us a more credible company as well, in what we're investing in. So I commend you, man. When we go to Cold Deep, go ahead, Cold Deep.
Good morning, everyone. Chris and Tamson, and everyone in this room.
How are you,
Uh,
my friend?
I'm absolutely good. Listening to this conversation over here, can you imagine even USD, even any currency of the world, even my own currency over here in India, it is actually going down. We are not even realizing it. It is going down. If I have 1 rupee right now, 1 USD right now, and if the machine prints more currencies, 2 USDs, then the value of my 1 USD goes down to zero point 0.5 USD, 50 cents, right? It is going down. So we have to evaluate very well what will be the currency backing up the whole world in the future. It's a big question, but uh, why I believe in John so much. How I really connect with him from heart. I'm talking about. Can I share a little story of my own if we have time?
Go ahead. Yeah, of course.
See, I'm an electrical engineer, and it's been almost 4 years now. I'm also manufacturer of frozen French fries. I mean, the transition from a technical electrical world to the food world was something I could never imagine. I had a friend who had nothing to do in life but was a very good cook. So he proposed me of this project of manufacturing frozen foods, not French fries particularly, and selling it into the retail market over here locally. Somehow I got convinced and invested into the project. Setup of the machineries and freezer was kind of huge investment I did at that time. For first 6 months, we tried and failed to introduce our manufactured products because it was my part to sell it. It was not my part to manufacture it. So successfully into the market, we couldn't upload the product, and now my partner saw it as a big mistake and simply left me alone. John had to face same thing with the unsuccessful launches, back in the past. I was very sad, and a lesson learned that not to trust any partner who is just temporarily excited and has no idea how to execute the project. I mean, you might get excited for certain things, but execution is completely altogether different knowledge you have to have. 1 year later, with all the experiments and trial, uh, and error methods. I mean, I tried and made use mistakes. I successfully came up with manufacturing frozen French fries, and now from contract farming to storage to processing, and again storage below minus 18 degrees Celsius, and then dispatches. I do everything with a good team around me. I have a beautiful team now. And John, same way, was left alone and he just kept moving, right? I mean, we all of our investments, all of our hearts actually kept him motivating to move on. Now he has a wonderful team, efficiently moving forward with this beautiful project we all are associated with. So people should trust in SafeMoon, trust in the people we have in the team. We basically are very, very lucky, I'm telling you.
That's excellent, man. Anytime you guys can provide a personal story in business that you can relate to SafeMoon, I think it really means a lot for all of our listeners. And you're right, you have to fail, man. I've been through this. When I got in my line of work in 2008, it was right after the mortgage crisis. It was one of the worst times to ever come into business. And I started out working about 270 to 280 hours a month. Okay. I did that for about 10 months. And it was hell at times. I can remember being so tired that my boss said, "Hey, would you like to take a nap on my leather couch in the office?" Right? I mean, it happened. You never hear that in my line of work, but I'm going to tell you, I learned how to handle things in that sense. I learned how to handle failures. I learned how to learn from failures. I learned how to become successful. And 16 years later, I'm still doing the same line of work. So you're going to fail a lot in the beginning. It's going to be very uncomfortable. It's not going to feel right. You're going to have a lot of hard lessons. But the guys that stick with it and have the vision, they eventually succeed. And that's how I look at this too. So I'm gonna give you a double stack them, Cold Deep, because you're exactly right. Stack them, stack them. You have to lose to learn how to win. There's a difference between losing and being defeated. You can take some losses, you can learn from your losses, and you can become a winner over time. If you're defeated, that means that you quit and you can't see a way of winning. We have a CEO in this company. He's stuck with the vision. He continues to work. And you're exactly right, because I've been through it personally. I know exactly what it's like. I was just absolutely amazed at how much work it took and how much I had to learn in that 10 months. So you're exactly right. Let me go to Javier, then I'm going to go to Crift, and then we're going to get Gemini up here. Go ahead, Javier.
Hey, how's it going? So I want to follow up with what Coldy and what Joker were talking about. So I discovered this SafeMoon when it first started. I used to just roam around CoinGecko, recently added, and said, "Hey, look at this! Look at all these zeros. Let me just invest a couple $100, whatnot, right?" But to add to what they were saying is, as time went by, as I started following more entrepreneurs, more SafeMoon influencers, and things like that, this community has turned into something where we help each other. It's everybody wants to invest in something that's gonna blow up within the next 3 months, right? Pump and dumps, make thousands of dollars, all that stuff. But what I've learned with SafeMoon is it's a wholesome community. We have a lot of plans for the future. Um, Once you lose that mindset of trying to make a quick buck, you start to realize what this community really is about. And it's about helping each other. It's about being involved in so many things around the world that you would have never imagined when you first bought this coin a year ago, a month ago, last week, whatever it may be in your situations, right? But the more you focus on studying the project, the more you see what John and his crew is doing with bridging and partnerships. Right now it might seem very small, but you got to think outside the box. You got to really back up, zoom out on that globe, and look at the big picture. Because while you're waiting for that big pump, like we all are, you're being included in so many other things, so many new things where you can invest in other things that SafeMoon is also investing on. And that is the big picture. And along the way, while you're making money, and hopefully, SafeMoon pops off and we all get our bucks, we also, contribute and make new friends and be social and also help those others and prevent FUD as well. That's what I see. And the more and more I see all these new collaborations and Twitter Spaces, just like yours, everybody is starting to notice that. And there's less fudders every day. There's more news, more people trying to help out. Like that one guy that has that big giant truck driving around New York City, billboards, and everybody's doing it because they believe in this space. They believe in Safemoon, and they all get the big picture.
You got it, man. You got it exactly right. You summarized it to a T. It's all about believing in each other and knowing that we're going to get there, right? And having the patience and not letting the emotions get involved when things don't go our way. And that's a lesson, man. That's a lesson I had to learn, back in 2008, because I can tell you, if something didn't go my way, I was the kind of guy to kick over a trash can. I had to learn to take everything in and not measure everything by every hour, right? You had to measure it by weeks, by months. You had to have patience. You had to that was something we had to learn, and this is what we're having to learn right now with SafeMoon too. The knee jerk reactions are not what makes you successful in life. I can tell you, I've experienced it. You have to take things in. You got to assess things, and then you got to think about things. That's the key to this. Let's go to Crift, then we're gonna go Gemini, and then we're gonna go Hope. Go ahead, Crift.
Yeah, so first off, what you, Chris, and Lou, and Coldy are saying about surrounding yourself with the right people. I'm just kind of starting my own project, and what you guys are saying is right on. It's all about the feedback and just really growing. It You can't grow without constructive criticism. You're not going to do everything right, but you will if you got to pull through, and it takes time. And but my main subject was Ukraine. So everyone's afraid of how that's going to affect the crypto market, and I agree. But I do wonder if SafeMoon kind of has a backup plan. Kind of like Elon sending the satellites over there. I see that John has this project going with the telecommunications. And so, even though everyone might bail out of something like Bitcoin because it relies on traditional internet, I'm pretty sure, I don't know, this is all speculation, but in theory, it could be a self-sustaining ecosystem between the turbines and then the satellites. You might not need to rely on traditional internet. And then, ultimately, even though Bitcoin might suffer, I think NFA, it could be really good for SafeMoon, in such a situation that we lose our internet or something.
That's an excellent point, man, and that's something nobody had brought up. And I commend you, man. That's a stack of them. And if you think this isn't an issue, I can tell you that I have direct knowledge, and I won't get into specifics. But you got to understand that with Bitcoin, there's mining equipment and miners in Eastern Europe right now, and they're being affected by this. Just to give you a heads up, okay? So don't think that this isn't something that's not affecting them. And this is where the vision of SafeMoon comes out, right? Because if you have nodes, right, and you have a mesh network and you have satellite capability where you don't have to run with mining equipment and you're able to use renewable energy, well, that is the future. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's a really big deal. So you're definitely on to some degree. Let's go to Gemini. Go ahead, Gemini.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's great to be in the space. I was having this idea. I'd really love to see something in terms of coming up on the impending exchange with like a referral link system with like however other exchanges have, where they like sign someone up, get X amount of crypto. But my idea was more along the basis of like a reflections booster for like X amount of a boost per every person that you bring onto the exchange, but in that specific crypto that they happen to sign up with. So say if you sign up, get a friend to sign up and they end up purchasing an ETH, you would get like a 2x booster for the month in Ethereum reflections, for having that person like capped at a certain amount of people per coin. But I just thought it'd be a really cool way to give back to the community, especially for the people out there, like I've only recently just now joined the Twitter community and seeing what's happening out there on the streets in New York, and just like the way that they're involving the community and like getting people that are otherwise not as readily available to financial gain and ability to like uh, have that type of commerce with other people and to actually really get into something like cryptocurrency, giving back to them in a way of like just giving them an additional reflection or something along those lines. I just thought that would be a pretty cool idea for the upcoming exchange.
It's a good idea. I think they're going to do some promotional and rewards type things. What exactly that will look like, I don't know. But if it's something they're not thinking about, I can tell you that the team listens and they do take ideas from the community. And they're definitely listening tonight. I can tell you that. So let's give them a stack of them. That's a good innovative idea. Let's go to Hope Warriors. Go ahead, Hope.
Hey guys, thanks for having me here. I just want to come in because we just had our headquarters space a few hours ago, and we had Affinity in there. And I just want to let you guys know that nothing but amazing things was being talked about with Safemoon as well. I mean, we had Affinity in there as our guest speakers, but we spent a good amount of time talking about Safemoon as well. And I just want to come in here and tell you guys, I've been looking into you guys a lot. Our Hope Warriors team has as well. And everything that they were saying in our headquarters space tonight, was definitely backed up from our research as well. So just want to come up here and say you guys are doing an amazing job. We see Safemoon all over the place, and that's for a reason. You guys have purpose and you have a community, and I and our project respect that tremendously. So keep doing what you guys are doing. Seriously, guys, absolutely amazing. Our project supports active military vets and their families, and you guys have a large community of them as well. So I love it. We love it.
It's awesome, man. And we've had the Affinity guys on here. We've had Zach on here. We've had Chris, the CEO, on here. We have a real affection for them as well. They're great guys, man. And they've been on here a couple times. So I know you got along with them well.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we just had a meeting with them a couple nights ago, and like you said, they're awesome to talk to. Real fun guys.
And I gave you a follow, man. You're welcome here anytime if you want to talk Safemoon or anything in the Safemoon ecosystem. We'd love to have you, okay?
No, absolutely. Thanks, man.
Thanks for coming up. Let's go back to Joker. Joker, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on something you said a minute ago about, the way that crypto has kind of evolved in the beginning. And I'm going to muddle it a little bit, but, there are people out there today, and you were talking about the Eastern Bloc, and I think we're talking about mining. And, I mean, I don't know how many people in this space right now have a miner going in their, business or their homes, but I know I do. And, it's mining this or that. And, when John brought up, being green about how, this project is, it dawned on me that, for me, I was, at the time I was mining both Ethereum and Raven, but I had solar power on my house. And for me, that was that was a green project for me because I wasn't being detrimental to, the power grid or having coal burned. But then as I start to think about like, the Safemoon project and what this looks like in 2 or 3 or 4 years, like, let's say that you're that, person that wants to get into something where you can make money off of your investment. And today, maybe you can go spend 3 or 4, God knows, like $5,000 on a mining rig that will get you, 180 megahertz mining Ethereum right now, right? And they just said that like June is going to be the day that they're going to cut over to where you can't get this anymore. So you're going to have to move your project over to something else like Flux or whatever. But my point is like, what happens when we get to this point where there's enough holders There's enough transactions with the turbines and all these other projects that John's cooking up in the back end, where if you're a holder, if you took that $3,000 and just bought Safemoon and held it, that you would be making as much, if not more, as if you had a rig mining whatever crypto it was in your house. I mean, to me, that speaks volumes to the whole green element, to what he's talking about. And that's one of the reasons why I had all my rigs are still going, but they're listed on various avenues to get them out, because I'd rather take that money and put it into Safemoon and just let it sit and let it grow organically in a way that doesn't draw anything, whether it's from the solar or coal or whatever else. So I think that vision himself, he came up with himself, and I haven't been on any of the other spaces that are trying to copy or do what we're doing, so I don't know if anyone's saying the same thing, but I heard it from him first, and to me that was a big deal. That's all.
No, you're exactly right. And if you go way back, and this is back in 2021, I want to say it was about 7-8 months ago, he had a Discord message where he said they were going to take away the harmful effects on the environment that cryptocurrency created. That was one of the things he said. We'll have to find the post. But he said we're going to reverse the environmental effects done on the environment with SafeMoon. And to me, what that meant was we're evolving into something where you're not going to need miners that are creating pollution, right? I mean, that was what got Elon Musk to stop accepting Bitcoin for Tesla. They didn't sell their holdings of Bitcoin, but they could no longer take it as payment because of concerns from investors about the harmful effects on the environment. I know you're aware of that, sure,
Yep.
Joker.
Yeah, I am. The other element of this too, though, is like, think, and going even further back than what you just mentioned, he's commented on multiple times, and I mean, it's a slogan, I think, for Safemoon now, is that freedom of the unbanked. So the idea behind that, in my vision, is that whether it's 2.3 million or 600,000 holders of a significant bag, we as a community as holders are quote unquote the bank. So we're managing those transactions that are now happening in a clean world. It's not, and we're receiving reflections off of that because we continue to do that. Now, I know that there's probably a good percentage of the community that just wants to see this thing pump up and do the thing, and then bail out and be able to say, hey, Safemoon did this. But for those that are like in this for the long haul, and everybody in here, I think at some point is going to take profits. I mean, I just I don't think there's anybody in this room that thinks that at some point you're not going to cash out to do whatever you need, whether it's a life situation or a luxury situation. But the general concept behind it is that there's going to be enough people that will continue to hold this, and if one bows out, 5 others will come in. That to me that's kind of a revolutionary idea behind crypto.
It is, because in the past you would have like massive sell-offs, right? And then you wouldn't have buy-ins like the price would fluctuate almost like a day trading scenario, right? And I'm not knocking other projects, but like with Doge, right? You saw the run up and the sell off. Shiba Inu, you saw the run up and the sell off, right? Well, they didn't have that 10% tax, and they didn't have reflections going back to the holders. So it's created in the ecosystem where I think as volume increases, okay, the the deflationary aspect of this gets in, where you're reducing the circulating supply, and then you're increasing your tokens as you have volume. That's why volume's the key component to this, and this is why you can't think of this like you would think of other cryptocurrencies, because it's just different. And this is where people have a hard time wrapping their mind around it, right? Because it takes so long to build what they're doing, but it's all predicated on volume. They've said since the beginning, everything we're doing is going to involve burning tokens. Every single thing that we do, whether it's wind turbines, whether it's an exchange, whether it's connect, it's all predicated on burning that supply down, right? And I think we forget that because we start talking about these catalysts and these utilities that are coming out, but it's all designed to burn down the supply while increasing the volume. That's the whole reason behind all of this. Coldeep, go ahead.
Yes, sir. I wanted to add some points over there. Even if, unfortunately, someone has to leave due to the final financial conditions, uh, it's not a problem. And even if the people later on get into Safemoon because of FOMO, even then it's not a problem because this is only the unique project at which at any certain value you enter into Safemoon, you will be actually being part of a big banking system. Like you have enough money and you are fixed depositing it into your bank and earning your interest. Like that, it will be, observed by the people later on when they'll come to know about Safemoon. Like if you buy some Safemoon and you stay invested, you get reflections that too compounding reflections. So it's similar to having compounding interest in bank. So at any point of time, if people enter Safemoon, it will be beneficiary for them. So this is the unique part of Safemoon. It will be never be the case that you have lost the. You couldn't catch the train. It will be like you can catch the train while running anytime you want.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to give everybody an opportunity, right? Like, again, something I've emphasized in the past, we're so early. I mean, we're literally in a project where we're gaining tokens, and it's hard for everybody to see because the tokens aren't what the future value is going to be, right? And that's where the vision comes in. But these tokens that you're looking at now, like, let's say I'm gaining, like, on average, I think like 1,500 tokens a day is what I've been getting, right? All right. Well, first thing we're having a hard time wrapping our minds around is that would be a million plus on the V1 contract, right? Because when people look at the smaller number, they're like, it doesn't look like as much. The second thing is that we're looking at the present value of the tokens and not the future value, right? I mean, even if it's 10 cents, it's grossly different than it is today. If we just return to the all-time high that we had on V1, we're at a penny. We're right about a penny. I think people forget that too. And that was with no utility in this system. Let's go to Honey Badger. Go ahead, Honey Badger.
Real quick, real quick. I just guessed out your bag value. I won't say it right now, but as you mentioned, I have my ratio, and accordingly, I know how much you have.
Hey, Chris, let me jump in real quick. Someone came up to speak, and we're having some issues with Twitter. It is kicking people down. I'm looking for the person. I wasn't able to get your name, but if you were kicked down or if someone comes up and gets kicked down, just come back up and we will get you in. Twitter is doing some funny things. So
I think it was Lee, if I'm not mistaken, because it was so fast. But Lee, if you want to come up and speak, we'd love to hear what you have to say. He's always got great technical analysis. Let's go to the Honey Badger. Go ahead, Honey Badger.
Hey, I just wanted to add to it too that like what Joker's saying, at some point in time, everyone's bound to take some money off, be it financial reasons or whatnot. And one thing I think that's important to keep in mind too is, was brought up, Chris, you were talking like, other project out there that, basically ran up and people liquidated and got out. One thing to keep in mind is different though, that we need to remind ourselves with Safemoon is the utility. For some reason, not for some reason, but when, the project continues to take off and the developments are such that the price does increase to allow, current and younger investors to pull money off the top, because I do think it's healthy to talk about that, right? And we're not just going to pretend it's a long-term hold. It's going to have reflections and stuff that we're all going to continue to build wealth off of. But it's important, and I'm glad Joker brought that up, because it is something that, if there's significant money there, people can change their lives with that, and that's not funning, to your point. That's just honest investment talk, and it's healthy to have that because, again, it further legitimizes the project. To pull money off of that and to continue to, to profit off of your reflections and whatnot. But again, to go back to that, if indeed the project, when it takes off like that, it's not going to be something. I'll use myself for an example. I'm sitting there with a bag and the project takes off. I came in, in May, so I wasn't part of the March April group myself either. But with the amount of money that I've invested in the company currently, if it got to a position where, say, for example, someone's got a large enough bag, but they can pull some profit off of that to pay off their house, to continue to put themselves in a better situation, to further invest more money in a company that is legitimate, that is absolutely, frankly, in my opinion, the right thing to do. That's the financial freedom that we're seeking. But I'll tell you this right now, I'm not going to liquidate my initial investment knowing that it was able to climb that high, right? I mean, that would be foolish. But what it is telling me as an investor is that this is a real company. This is not a, and I can't even think of what name you called the company, but this is not a rug pull, right? I don't believe that to be the case one bit. So if this takes off and it's able to give the current investors that are in this room or other investors elsewhere the ability to make a financial step in their lives that gives them freedom to continue to invest this, because in my opinion, it'd be foolish to pull out of a project that you're so early in, but it can help you in the quick future. That's the way to do it. So again, this isn't FUD. This is honest financial talk that more and more people down below in the room and other people should be hearing, that this is why we're investing in these projects, to make those step-by-step life-changing events to continue to build that wealth without liquidating our bag, because in my opinion, for me, that's going to be foolish. But you better believe if I'm going to be able to make some quick steps that are going to put me in a better situation for my family, it's going to happen, and I'm going to continue to reinvest in the company that got me to that position.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I mean, my perspective is a little different. It's not going to be the same as everybody's, but I look at the card and I look at it like, why would I sell, right? I'm just going to keep it on the card and stake it, and maybe at some point, maybe a small percentage, but I don't look at moving it and selling it. I look at keeping it on the card, and that's going to be my bank. That's how I look at it, because I'm going to draw interest on it. That's going to be a lot more than a bank. And I mean, even now, it's a lot more than a bank. But in future tense, I mean, it's going to be, in my opinion, not financial advice, astronomically higher than a bank. So would I rather keep my money in the bank or keep my money in Safemoon on a card where I'm drawing massive more interest? Well, with volume, right? Like when we talk about $1 billion in volume, per million that you hold, we're estimating that's about $73 a day. So if I'm getting $73, or excuse me, not a day, that would be $73 a month. Okay, but if I'm getting $73 a month, that's going to be higher than traditional banking. Most of us are holding a lot more than $1 million, right? So when I do the math on it, to me, and this is just my perspective based on my wallet, I would rather have that on my card, stake that with reflections, and earn that passive income, right? Because the staking portion that I receive, those dividends or whatever you want to call them, the money you earn from that staking is also non-taxable too. So I look at it as a long-term investment. I hold on that card, and that's my new bank.
Yeah, and Chris, don't get me wrong, I'm with you too. And I've talked to different people, and yourself included, and I think that that's 100% right. And I just want to encourage people that whatever you got to do what's right for you, correct? And I think that when people say, "Oh, I don't mean to be funny" and stuff like that, it's just a situation where people need to do what makes sense for them. And I am just such a big proponent of this project that I think this all needs to be discussed in these rooms, as you do yourself, and support that. And I agree with you. I think the reflections in the card, and I think it's one of those things that we're not going to know the real answer until we actually see it unfold. And then to say that, it may ultimately make not any sense at all to pull out, right? But this is one of those things as mature investors that we need to sit back and let these dev teams come up with what their plan is, have the trust in them, because when you trust in your development team, the timeline kind of goes away, right? Because anything we say down here isn't necessarily going to speed that up. We can give them great ideas, but I think it's our job as investors and be willing to take that ride with them, is to give them the space to do that, which is why I keep saying that, and ride along with them. So that's leave it there. Thank you guys. Good night.
Yeah, man, good to hear from you, Stack. And investment strategy is not FUD. Taking profits is not FUD, right? If you decide to take profits, it's up to you as to what you want to take. I don't look at that as FUD ever. You're the one that's in the driver's seat. You're determining what's best for you and your future. And some people are going to sell reflections, right? So some people are going to sell reflections on a monthly basis, quarterly basis, semi-annual, some annual. It's all based on the math and the analysis behind that to maximize your investment. Everybody's going to have a little bit different of a take, and everybody's situation is different too. Let me get Lead up here. He was trying to come up here earlier. We love having Lead up. Lead, how are you, sir?
Hey Chris, hey Dom. Man, I got to have a really cool conversation with the Fudhound earlier, and it's been a while since I've been able to come to After Dark and do what we used to do, Chris, which is crack a beer and cheers each other. Let me tell you, I'm so excited. Don't we have reason to celebrate, my friend? Like, we got some dates, we got some timelines that are like, a couple weeks away, and it's like all the stuff on the Christmas list.
Yeah, I got to go in earlier and listen to you and Don for about a half hour, and I thought it was outstanding. So if you can just cover some of your conversation with Ryan and tell people what you're excited about. I know the cross chain swaps, and then he was talking about cross chain liquidity pools too. You want to get into a little bit of that for our listeners?
Sure. So one of the things that we brought up was, there was some sentiment from the community that the Safemoon was kind of like forgotten about. But, the team has all along said that they had a plan for Safemoon. And what we got to hear was that not only is there a plan, but there's more functionality in the way of reflections coming to Safemoon on, Safemoon V2 on ETH, or potentially the bridge to take that Safemoon on ETH and move it to the Binance Smart Chain easily. So that was really cool. So it's an off ramp from ETH to BSC, which could potentially bring a bunch more holders and customers to Safemoon, which is really cool.
Yeah, I thought it was outstanding how they handled that. What do you think about the cross chain swap? What do you think that's going to mean for everybody?
Okay, so what's really cool about doing a cross-chain swap is you don't have to go through a lot of the headache where you have to buy stuff in one wallet and then send it to an exchange for it to change into something else. It's going to eliminate some of that extra fees that you're incurring when you go through each of those intermediaries. You'll just have a one fee, one-stop shop where you can swap between what's going to start with Binance Smart Chain and Ethereum, and probably evolve to all the other Ethereum, virtual machine compatible blockchains, and probably also Bitcoin, right? Maybe Dogecoin. So that's going to be really cool because that's going to bring native coins to the SafeMoon wallet, where that's a really great user experience where you could just have your tokens there and then swap them to whatever chain and send them to wherever you want, and then SafeMoon becomes that kind of glue in the middle of everything.
And then he said 6 bridges too, right? Isn't that what he said? They were looking at incorporating 6 bridges.
Yeah, he said, I think it was 4 to 6 bridges. So he's going to have a good start with Ethereum, right? And then we got, which is already in place, and then what would you say, Chris, would be the priority blockchains?
So this is a good question because John touched on this and said Solana would be hard to do. But I know you guys were talking about Harmony was one, right? Then obviously, Bitcoin's going to be one of them. After that, that's what I'm starting to think. Like, what beyond those two? To me, I know this is one that hasn't been tossed about a lot, but I think like the Kronos blockchain, I think that would be powerful because it's a big ecosystem. I know it's new, but Kronos to me, when you look at the naming rights for the Staples Center and you look at some of the future things they have planned, I think Kronos would be one I would throw in there. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that one's pretty interesting. Another one might be Harmony, which is a really low fee blockchain, and potentially I think Avalanche would be really cool because that opens up a lot of other DeFi options that we can onboard stuff potentially from the Avalanche community. I'm thinking of like we have Chainlink on there already. Maybe we can push that a little bit more. And Cardano is already another one. So I think we're seeing this mapped out to where we're trying to, or Safemoon's trying to reach all of the major spots, right?
I think Avalanche would be huge because that's one of the fastest growing right now. And if you look at it, I mean, it's really moving, man. That's one that I could also see for sure. If you want to go even deeper, if you look at like QNT, a lot of people don't know about that, but if you look at their supply, it's really low. They have like a 13.6 million supply. So that's one that I've heard about kind of behind the scenes. It's not something that's real well known, but that's one I could think about too that would be successful. I just look at, like, when I look at Kronos, I just look at the massive size of Kronos, right? And how they're in the beginning. And I think that would play really well into SafeMoon being in the beginning too, right? Like these are two projects that I think that could really take off in the future.
And I was also able to sneak in a question about staking, which it sounds like the staking will be related to that cross-chain swap in some way, whether it's pools on the swap or so that sounded really cool because that opens up the potential for if you stake, what are those potential benefits? Maybe you get reduced trading fees, right? So that would be kind of nice.
It'd be excellent. And didn't you guys ask him about cross-chain liquidity pools? And he said they were working on that?
Yeah, so then you can get fancier with your pool designs, right? So I've seen some of these DeFi solutions, they create kind of like a portfolio of multiple cryptos to offer as like an asset to invest in. I'm not saying that SafeMoon would do that, but if they're going to bank the unbanked, they might have interesting products like that.
Yeah, so then if you cross those into a liquidity pool, then that would almost be like, I'm trying to think of the way to put it. It would almost be like a mutual fund, right? Like made up of several different cryptos.
Well, it's at least access to do things like that. I don't know exactly how it's designed, to be honest.
It's complex, my friend. Is there anything that Ryan added that we haven't discussed that you found really interesting?
Yeah. Let me look at my note real quick.
Sure. I just think it was cool that you guys got to have an extended discussion with him, you and Don, and you got to ask him really good questions. And then he was giving good answers too. I think that's like the key. He wasn't giving you like limited answers. He was really going pretty in depth, it sounded like.
Yeah, candid, thoughtful responses on the fly, Chris, from the guy, which is cool.
He's a good guy to talk to.
Yep. Hey, just give me a minute. I'm sorry.
No, we're good. Take as long as you need, man. I think it's good to get Ryan on, in between SafeMoon events that they do. And then they don't have the pressure of doing a SafeMoon Sunday every 2 weeks, right? And then, as we touched on earlier in the show, doing a Saturday night event in a cool, trending town like Austin, right, in Texas, because we got a ton of holders in Texas. They're on the show all the time, and that's a technology area. You got a Facebook office out there. You got some other tech companies, so they picked a really good location for that. And Grit Daily is pretty impressive too. Don was touching on that last show of how they've worked with some tech companies in the past. Lee, are you good with your notes now?
Yeah, so what I asked was about global tokenomics, and what I was pointing at was, is SafeMoon's efforts for global tokenomics beyond just SafeMoon? Is it going to be designed to be leveraged for multiple products to be traded on other exchanges? And basically he said that's the path we're working towards. And So that kind of confirmation that we're making tokenomics as a service is so awesome.
Yeah, because I mean that has huge ramifications, right? Like nobody else has that, and that's something we touched on earlier in the program. The confidence that this team has, and what I believed the whole way was it was a technology that differentiates them from the competition, right? And that would certainly do that.
Yeah, so give it time. Um, you have to crack a few eggs to make an omelet, as my old boss used to say. So, just give it a minute, and wow, the end result is going to be really impressive in terms of volume for people that are wanting to stay in the eco.
Yeah, got it, man, for sure. If anybody wants to ask Leet any questions, feel free. Just put up your hands. We got them here. We had a good conversation with Ryan, who's the CTO of Safemoon. Joker, did you have any questions for Leet?
I'm trying to find him, but right now I'm good.
Okay, man. Dan, any questions for Leet?
I don't have any questions. One thing he did say that really got my attention was using staking in terms of the intermediary, the liquidity for the cross chain swapping. I think that, to me, that says that staking will come very soon. I think we have speculated to that fact. So that's very exciting. I expect that if that is so, and it sounds like that is from what he received from Ryan, that definitely is something that they're, quote unquote, looking at, that would arrive very soon, I would expect.
Yeah, Lee, I've been thinking that we might see staking this month in March. What do you think about that?
Oh, I don't know. Did you hear me try to put Don to the fire for that one? Yeah, I was like, hey, Don, since we're getting the swap router upgrade this month, are we going to get staking? And he was like, ooh, because, we don't know. And honestly, I don't care. Like, if we do, awesome. That's another present to unwrap. If we don't, we got to wait till April. Fine. That's great. I don't even care. It doesn't matter. If it's coming and that's what it's going to be, awesome.
I'll say staking, if not this month, definitely by April. I think that's just my opinion. I think the team might even try to do it this month. I do think they're trying to do it this month, but I think if it doesn't land this month, I think we could see it in April for sure. Let's go to Cold Deep. Go ahead, Cold Deep.
Hey, lead, interesting topics, and I have few questions. But first, about this staking, I think team might be coming with this staking concept along with the blockchain only, because blockchain use case of staking with the blockchain makes actual usage of staking. And I've been planning actually accordingly my whole career into Safemoon. I mean, my whole financial career into Safemoon. Like, as soon as we get launched with our blockchain and it's fully functional, at that time, in order to have proof of staking, I'll be staking all my coins and I'll be enjoying my reflections later next year. I mean, at the end of 2023, I'll start enjoying the reflections. But before that, as soon as we get on with our blockchain, I'll be the first one to stake and to have maximum number of returns. Because if people come and stake in huge groups, the percentage of returns gets little bit down. I mean, it gets diversified. Am I right? So as you enter in the initial stage, you will get more benefit, I guess. So this is my plan. And secondly, I wanted to ask, I was thinking, when we come up with our blockchain will be the centerpiece, and rest other blockchains will be the outer circle ring. I mean, those blockchains will be in the outer circle, and we are at the center. So, in order to have liquidity pool greater than 100 or 110%, if I could connect liquidity pool by my Safemoon blockchain at the center, and that liquidity pool which is associated with Crow or Avalanche or Bitcoin or Ethereum, but in the center, I'll be benefiting out of having maximum liquidity pool percentage. Am I right at that point? Because that would make more sense in having liquidity pool higher than 100% range. Otherwise, if it is diversified, linking with each other's blockchain, we'll be compromising in the unified liquidity pool. Am I right in that sense?
Dude, that is an epic question. And by the way, I still got to give you props every time I talk about you. Those, what are they? The not furnaces. And what is it that you manufacture again?
So those are induction furnaces.
Induction furnaces. Thank you.
Induction.
I apologize, don't remember. But how awesome is it that you painted those the Safemoon colors? I just got to bring it up every time because it's freaking amazing. So, no, they're not minting tokens on other blockchains and causing problems with that. They're not going to do that. So it's all one-for-one stuff. If you're going to take the token and move it over there, it's just over there now, right? So you should eliminate that worry. In terms of like the 110% liquidity, these are like, hypothetical things that could be possible, right? So the reason why they're saying that this is possible, hold on a second.
See, absolutely, we need to have liquidity pool connected to each blockchain. Suppose Ethereum and BNB. If we connect them and if we put a separate bag of liquidity pool in BNB and separate bag in Ethereum, we are actually diversifying our percentage over there. But if we keep it only in the Safemoon blockchain and we get it connected with Ethereum and BNB, Avalanche, Bitcoin, then all the liquidity pool will be concentrated with us in the center. And that's how whatever happens in future, our price will never go down, because if everyone comes together and sells all the bag of Safemoon, they will get equal amount of money distributed. I mean, there won't be any last person who will get the least amount of value if he tries to sell in the last position. So I think this would be the better option to work with. Maybe Ethereum is working the same way. I think I need to get on with it. Yeah.
Oh, we're good, man. And just to give you a heads up, what he's talking about, because we were moving pretty fast. He's talking about the 110% value of the liquidity pool over the market cap. And so when that comes to that point, that means that there's more stabilization. Now, to be perfectly clear on this, it doesn't mean that the price can't move down. It just means the price is a lot more resistant to downward movement with massive selling at that point. Prices can always move down. It's just much more resistant to it. It becomes there's a stabilization period that comes with that, with the liquidity pool getting to that level. Just to give a heads up, I want everybody to be clear about that. Lee, did you have anything else to add, my friend?
Nah, thank you.
All right, man. He put in some work tonight. We're going to close this out in the next 10 minutes or so, but I want to get everybody's final thoughts. Anything you guys want to add, feel free. Dan, your final thoughts.
I think this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. It's a game of patience. I think that is the way that many of us, if not most of us, are looking at this. And this is the beginning. I believe the video that they dropped the other day was the beginning. So, just stay patient. I think we've got a lot of massive things coming. I'm extremely excited, and I'm grateful to be here tonight and grateful for all the listeners. Thank you.
Yeah, and let me say something else too. I think it's really important on this program tonight and going forward that we have different perspectives and different voices, right? And I think it's really important because it allows us to analyze things fully and to look at the future, right? And with the point Joker brought up tonight, I think it was good, because if we do have some downward movement because of market conditions, has nothing to do with the investment of Safemoon, in my opinion. It has to do with an overall market movement. It gives you the opportunity to, maximize your investment. and we can talk about all topics, and we can look at all perspectives, and it's healthy, and it's going to benefit everybody better in the long run that way. So I think it's
Let me
really
just.
important. Go ahead.
I was just gonna. I was gonna go on top of what you were saying. Like I think I. You know what? I know that I may have been branded by some people as being like the naysayer here, but I want to protect my investment, and I think that's all what we want to do here. And so when I see something, I want to call it out so that everyone else is not just doing the Win Lambo thing or buying into the FUD. Like I think that you know there's a lot more out there going on than just Safe Moon that can influence what happens to our investments. And these are questions that people like John are undoubtedly aware of. And so yeah, to everything you're saying, like you know, I'm strong. Safe Moon Army forever, and I just want to see this project be successful. I'm a firm believer that we're going to be hearing about things, maybe watching things on NBC about how we're doing, this country's doing this, and it's because of this thing. And that's where I've been with the whole time. Like I just think that there's some revolutionary ideas out here, and let the paper hands get in for at the high and sell at the low, and we get the reflections. That I'm sorry if you're listening right now, and um, all I can say now is borrow from somebody else to pay that bill. Don't sell your safe money. Like it isn't that you're going to in a year or two not regret in doing.
Yeah, and it's a long term hold, man, and it tests your patience. And there's certain days that it's harder than others, right? But fundamentally he's right, because like it is a long term hold. Long term hold isn't 6 months. Like a lot of people think a long term hold 6 months or a year. It could be years, right? The people that sell too soon, I mean, look at Binance. You want to talk about Binance? Like Binance, you had people selling, they got in at 17 cents or whatever it was, and they were selling it, $100 or $200, and thought, hey, man, I hit it big. They didn't see Binance going to $600. That's where it got to last year at the end of the year. Okay, and if you got in something around $1 or even less than $1, and it went all the way up to $200, you know, you're doing pretty damn good, especially if you had a lot of it, right? But imagine being the guy that sold at $200 and it went up to 3 times that number, right? So that's what he means by a long-term investment. I got a guy I know. All he does is hold things. I call him the hoarder, right? Like you guys have seen shows with the hoarders. This guy will literally buy something in the beginning, okay, and not spend a lot of money, and he will hold it for years. I mean, he bought Doge. Gosh, I think he bought like 300,000 Doge for like $500 or something, and he has never sold it. So like what I learned from this guy was it wasn't just what you get. It's like it's all about holding it, and it's a lot of people can't hold it that long, and that's why they miss out. So just wanted to add that before we end the show. If it was easy, everybody would do it. It's not easy. That's the whole point to it. Dan, before we end, anything else?
No, that's it. Just be patient. Let things evolve, and let it happen. I have no doubts personally. I'm going to hold my bag, like I've said before. I'm not selling, regardless of what we see come with this thing in the Ukraine. Um, I won't sell. Come hell or high water. I made that decision in the beginning. I think that's something that's important to do. Don't invest anything that you're not prepared to completely lose. And with me, that's my stance. I made that call in the very, very beginning. I've bought more every time the price has dropped, and I'll continue to do so. And I'll be here to the very end. That's it.
Yeah, I'm good with everything, man. And there isn't a night that I worry about anything because I don't. I look at this as years in advance. Even I think by this time next year, we'll be in a much different situation. I do believe we'll have the utility built. I think we'll have it this year. We're going to have exchange. I believe we'll have the blockchain. We'll have Connect. We'll have the card. We'll have all the utility built we need for the volume. And I'm going to give you a different perspective before we end the show. And this might not be popular, but the reality is if the price is lower and we have all this utility built, I think we'll have even greater volume than we anticipated because of the price point being so low. So I look at things in a positive, aspect rather than, I mean, look, if the price takes off, then our balances are shooting up, right? But if the price stays low and people are buying it, then our reflections are going to shoot up and we're going to burn even faster. And I think you're going to have even more massive volume than we anticipated. So I look at it as a win either way. I don't look at this as an issue. I just look at this as things are going to be built and then it's going to play out. But as Crypto Control said one night, he said, if you're in this for the long game, you should want the price to be low. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but it actually benefits you because you're able to accumulate more and receive greater reflections. It's a different spin than a lot of people would say. Most people are concentrating on the price going up, but if you're holding this long term, it actually benefits you for the price to be low. Just a different spin to end the night. All right. I want to thank everybody for being here. We had a great show, a lot of interesting, intelligent conversation. You guys really came strong to the mic tonight. I appreciate it. We'll be back Wednesday. We're going to have another great show. We got the cross-chain swap coming on the 23rd. We got the Grit Daily House coming on the 12th. So that's going to be Saturday. So that's coming up. It will be interesting to hear what John has to say. I think they have some good news planned. I don't know exactly what it will be, but I do think they're going to have something that's going to be important and interesting. They're not just holding an event to hold one. They're holding an event with the community in mind. Couldn't ask for more. Everybody have a great evening. Thank you for attending the show. We'll get it up by tomorrow, just to give you a heads up, okay? All right, good night.